3, 2, 1. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Ash on Comics, and it is time for another Storytime live stream. Woohoo! Aren't you excited? It is Tuesday night, the last Tuesday before Christmas. I hope you've all been good boys and girls, and that Santa's going to bring you something nice. Yeah, that's nice, pleasant thoughts. I have been doing my story time streams for over now 100 episodes. Like in good modern comics tradition, I have decided to reboot the series and abandon the numbering system, start over a brand new number 1 to hopefully get my viewer count up. And no, it's not going to work. It doesn't work for comics. It's not going to work for me. But I'm going to do it anyway. Now I decided to change the format slightly. Instead of just having this ongoing numbering system, I'm just going to do the labeling based on the books that I'm doing. And I'm going to try this experiment out where I'm just going to do a series of comics. Like, for now, this first one we're going to be doing is a Spider-Man Marvel Masterworks edition. Some classic Spider-Man stories. And I'm going to bundle them up. That way, if perhaps you decide you want to go back later and peruse the catalog that'll eventually be building, you'll have, you can say, oh, yeah, Spider-Man sounds interesting. Or you might say, I don't want to read that old comics crap. I don't read old-timey comics. Then you can skip it. So we'll see how that goes. Tonight we got Melissa in the house. She's first. Christopher Barker's here. Good to see you, Chris. Nice. I like your Superman avatar there. We got, he says, I'll tell you what, you can shove your list up your butt because Christmas time is killing us. Wait, what list? What are you talking about? Melissa says, I lost 3 channels. You lost 3 channels? First of all, why do you have 3 channels? I didn't even know you had channels, Melissa. I'm sorry to hear that. You must be saying things that aren't approved by the leftist technocracy. You don't have freedom of speech in this country anymore. So be mindful of what you say. Let's see. Marania's here. Good to see you. Marania says, Merry Christmas to everyone. It is almost Christmas. It's the 22nd of December, still here. Some of you on the later side of the country are already on the 23rd. Zach Richmond says, Jingle bells, Marvel smells. They made Star-Lord. Bye. Katie Pride and... Wait, and what? And Katie Pride and Herc as well. So I said goodbye. Sorry, I messed that up for you, Zach. I'm sorry. I couldn't read. I was like, is that Hero? My old eyes are getting bad. That I was like, it's not Hero. It doesn't make sense. Katie Pride and Hero. And I was like, I fail. Zach, I'm sure down the road, their sexuality will be changed down the road. Yeah, what happens? Where do we go once all the characters are bisexual and persons of color and transgender, non-binary, whatever? What happens when all the characters are that way? Then what do we do? Well, history has shown that when far left progressives get what they want, they don't just stop, right? When feminists fought for the right to vote, they didn't get the right to vote and be like, okay, cool, we're going home, see ya. This doesn't happen. This is why we're on 4th wave feminism. This is because there was a first wave, a second wave, and a third wave of feminism. Now we're on the 4th wave of feminism. Once you give what they want, they find new things to ask for. Because when you make your life about being a professional victim, once someone helps you and you're no longer a victim, well, you better find something else. Sucks. Not to make this all political, but hey, it's comic. I'm told that comics have always been political. So I guess it shouldn't offend anyone if I talk politics when I talk to comics. Certainly not those people that tell me so. You know what I'm saying? Christopher Barker, they don't like what I have to say, and they censored me, and I don't give a damn. I just make a new channel and start all over again. All right. Well, I admire your moxie, Melissa. Ronnie says, Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg, Batmobile lost a wheel, and Joker got away. Hey. Yeah, that's the old classic timey one. I got to give credit to Zach, though, for making up something new. That was pretty clever. Let's see. Got to skip all the political comments. Ash, we don't like listening to your channel when it's all political. All right, let me read some of the comments. Politics. It's like, damn it. Lord is in the house. He says, hi, everyone. What's up, Lord? Hopefully today is not the day you end me. Chris Barker says, I think the problem with Dark Knight's death metal is it's trying to be as big as possible when really it has this Batman-centric story. I think the problem with Dark Knight's death metal is there's a lot of sticks in the mud. I mean, a lot of people didn't like regular metal. It's just way out there. It's a weird story. It's kind of outrageous, and I don't know. I find comics fans, and this has been going back decades. It's not like a new thing. Comics fans are notoriously hard to please. They'll bitch and moan, scream and holler about the things they want, and how comics they did this thing and it's stupid and I can't believe they ruined my character and da. And I'm not trying to invalidate anyone of that opinion. There's certainly lots of things that I consider. I do that myself, but sometimes like fans will get what they want, or what they at least seem to be crying for, and then they don't like that either. It strikes me, one of my favorite comics in the modern era is Daredevil. I think Chip Zdarsky is doing a fantastic job with Daredevil. And if there wasn't a Frank Miller run of Daredevil, I might hesitate to say that this might be the best run of Daredevil there's ever been. It's possible. But more to the point is, it's not just good for today's era. This run of Daredevil would have been good back in the 90s, back in the 80s. It's just legitimately good. And it's got the rare combination in modern comics of really good writing with really good art. Usually you just get one. You don't usually get one or the other. Usually if you get one, if you're lucky enough to get one, you don't get the other. But Daredevil, you're getting both. But yet I'm still finding comics fans finding reasons to bitch and moan about the series. As soon as there's like one issue that seems a little off, it's like, oh, Daredevil's lost. Oh, this is stupid. Oh, Daredevil's no good anymore. So I'm like, come on. This is by far one of the best mainstream comics. You know, I challenge you to go back in history, any comic run out there, and not have, a couple strikes, a little swing and a miss here and there throughout the run for whoever is doing it. Even the best run of all time, in my opinion, which is Chris Claremont's X-Men, even those have some issues where I'm like, it could have been better. That's just the way that comics are, and it just kills me to see how people are so quick to jump off the bandwagon as soon as something, oh, hey, look they just had 15 5-star issues in a row, but this one was just 3.5 stars. I don't know. I'm disappointed. I think Daredevil's going down the tubes. Like, please. There hasn't been a bad issue yet, but it's funny. I think some people just don't want to be happy, or they want to find reasons to bitch about things, or they just want to be the first to find when something goes south. I don't know. I don't really know what it is. But I think death metal is slightly a victim of that, maybe. It's like, oh, it's not as good as the first metal, so therefore it's terrible. It's so awful. And it's like, it's just outlandish. I don't know. I like the metal concept. I love the name. I just love the fact that the comic is metal and it's named metal. And it's just, sometimes I just want that. I want bonkers comics. And if you don't, maybe you shouldn't buy a comic called Death Metal. Maybe go buy something more serious and snooty. I know about snooty comics. I read snooty comics too. You don't have to be embarrassed. Doug Johnson's here. What's up, Doug? He says, seems more Wonder Woman centric at this point, Death Metal. DC really overdid it in the tie-in one-shots too. Some are good, but there's a lot of stinkers. That's the case with every event, Doug. Every event. The tie-ins are always stinkers. They just don't get the tie-ins. Stop feeding the machine. Even with regular metal. And I will admit, actually, one of the cool things about metal was the tie-ins in general were better. There were 26 total comics, if I remember, my count is right. I might be off by a few. It might be 27. 26 or 27 issues of original metal, including all the tie-ins. 6 core issues. So 6 core issues, and then I think 6 or 7 of the tie-ins were the one-shot Batman stories where they had like a dark multiverse version of Batman for each of the Justice League members. They had like a Flash one, a Green Lantern one, etc. And then of course there was Batman Who Laughs, which was the Joker Batman. And that was part of the whole thing. So they did a one-shot like issue that was like the origin of each of those Justice League variant Dark Batman. Those were all pretty decent. The ones that were actually kind of not so good, the spin-offs, were like the Justice League tie-in books, which, well, actually that was decent too. Josh Williamson was it Robert Venditti? Robert Venditti or Josh Williamson, one of the two, I think, wrote those books, and they were pretty decent. But they did have a Teen Titans tie-in that was dumb. They had a couple times. Anyways, my point is you only really needed to read the core series. I read the whole thing. I thought it was pretty good. Absolute Carnage. I did read a couple of the tie-ins from my channel. And I was like, nah. You just need to read the 5 issues of Absolute Carnage. That's it. Read Venom, and then read the Absolute Carnage. And that's it. You don't need the rest. Don't bother. You're making it bad for yourself. You're watering down your own experience when you read the tie-ins, in my opinion. That's why I don't do it. It's not just a cost thing. It's you have this core story with the main writer, typically a good artist. Like on Metal, you've got Greg Capullo. What is it? Absolute Carnage. I'm drawing a blank. I'm sitting here thinking of the new one, the Black King in Black. Anyway, on both of them, you have Donny Cates and you have I'm just drawing blanks all over the place as I'm sitting here. It's hard to like think of where you're gonna navigate to talk and then remembering things. But Ryan Stegman, the artist, is one of the best artists at Marvel, and he's not on a regular book because, surprise, Marvel can't afford to put good artists on regular books. Just get the core experience. I'm not even getting King of Black because they overdid it. I also didn't get Death Metal because they're overdoing it. I'm going to get Death Metal in the trades because I also have regular metal in the trades. So I felt it was kind of weird to have original metal in the trades and then floppies. So I was like, stay consistent. Plus, I don't like the big events. I think it's way too taxing on the pocketbook. If they're worth reading, just get them in the trades. They're almost never worth anything from a collectability standpoint anyway, so don't even speculate. My personal philosophy on buying comics is just give me an ongoing comic that's going to go on the numbering forever and ever and ever, theoretically, and I'll just start buying it, and I'll go forward, and if I didn't start at number 1, I'll also have fun going into the back issues and going backwards in my collection and filling out those holes, and I can do that for years. I don't need to have it tomorrow. I don't need the whole collection. Like, part of the fun is watching it grow. It's like planting a seed. I don't know if you ever did it when you were a kid, maybe in kindergarten or something, and they like teach like, oh, everyone, we're gonna get a little pot and put a seed in, and you get to like watch it grow over several weeks and a little sprout. Like, that's part of the experience. And if you didn't get to do that, maybe that's why you don't understand comics. No, I'm sure that has nothing to do with it. I'm drinking a strange beer tonight. I don't know if I think I guys told you recently that I had a pretty positive experience in the sense that I paid my car off, and that was really exciting. And the fun part of the story was I didn't know I was paying my car off. I thought I still had like over $1,000 left, and so I asked for a quote because I was like, maybe I can afford $1,000, just pay it off and not have a car payment. And they're like, oh, you only have $200 left to pay. I was like, what? So needless to say, my budget kind of swelled up slightly a little, so I went and bought myself some liquor. And I was at the liquor store. It was one of the better liquor stores in the area. And they have a really good beer selection. And so they had this beer that's called, what is it called? I took pictures of it, and I had it on the 100th episode. But for those of you who weren't there, shame on you if you weren't there for the 100th episode. That was fun because Eric Breen and Skip and Tosh joined me. This is called Palmilla. I think it's a Spanish beer. Clara de España. Palmilla beer. It's got a lemon. It's like a teal can with a lemon. Anyways, this lemon infused. Well, it says it's made in the USA, so I don't feel bad. It's made in the USA. Go America. Anyways, one of my favorite beers in the world ever is made by Anchor Brewing Company. I don't know if you've heard of them. If you're a beer person, Anchor Steam is like their main beer. Anchor Steam Porter. It's one of the highest rated beers. Like, it's one of the best beers. Anyways, it's a great beer. They have a company. They brew other beers out there. They have one that's called Meyer Lemon Lager, and I cannot find it anywhere since moving away from Colorado. And I saw this, and I was like, oh, maybe it's similar. The only thing similar in it is it has some lemon infusion in it. But the Meyer Lemon one was like super, super little, like just barely a hint of lemon, just barely. You could barely taste it. This one's overpowering. It's like someone squeezed a lemon in my beer. And it's not the best. Not the best at all. Not going to buy it again. And for those of you who are like, I hate beer. Why are you talking about beer? I came here for comics. I'm sorry. I'll stop talking about beer now. Chris says, that's what fandom ministers say about Star Wars. I say they're wrong. They can't let go of their hate. Amen, Chris Barker. Amen. Fandom Menace has done more to turn me off of Star Wars than Disney itself. Like, look, I'm not happy with a lot of stuff Disney is doing. But oh my God, these Fandom Menacers, they're so black-pilled. They start hating stuff before it's even out. And then they start latching onto something that they like, and they have no critical view of it. Like, they slather over Mandalorian. And I'm like, this is not that great of a show. It's actually a really flawed show. I enjoy it as a Star Wars fan, and I also enjoy it as a Lone Wolf and Cub fan, which it's a heavy ripoff of. But it's almost like fan fiction. The writing is fan. It's like, how many Star Wars Easter eggs can we cram into every episode? It's seriously, has it been in Star Wars before? Let's find a way to put them into Mandalorian. And they just look at that show and they worship it like it's the best Star Wars thing ever made. You're like, come on. You like this and you're pissed off about other things. Whatever. Let's see. Chris says, Doug, I haven't read the tie-ins. I'm guessing they're made to flesh out the dark multiverse. Perhaps. I haven't read them either. Chris says, that better be Ash cracking open a beer. Oh, I'm way behind in the chat. That was me cracking open a beer. Ed is here. What's up, Ed Brewer? He says, there is no Santa. I want Sunday story time and Santa Nerf gun me. Oh, did you guys see that viral video of Santa telling the little kid he can't have a Nerf gun? Oh, I'm so glad I get to live in fucking leftist utopia where kids have to cry because Santa tells them they can't have a Nerf gun. Let's see. Let's scroll down a little bit. Doug Johnson says it's Hercules. I thought it was Heracles. I think we pronounce it wrong. Marania says, I'm trying to keep gray-pilled in terms of Iron Man, but it's very hard to do so. Marania, you're trying to make that a word is not a thing. That's not a thing. There's no gray pill. Let's see. Ash, I never wanted to end you. You are in hell. I just want to torment you. Oh, well then I want you to end me. Read Star Wars Heir to the Jedi. What the hell? Luke walks in on an alien orgy. The fuck? That's another thing that the Fandom Menace, they like worship the extended universe. And I was like, way before the Disney, way before even the prequel trilogy, Disney launched the extended universe with, first they launched it with Dark Horse Comics with my favorite, the only extended universe thing that I like is Dark Empire, the original Dark Empire, not Dark Empire 2 and not the Empire's End, which is like the third, like Dark Empire. Fantastic story. Unfortunately, the prequels kind of obsoleted it because some of the information that came out of the prequels made Dark Empire not work. Whatever. It was always an extended universe thing anyway. Dark Empire is phenomenal. I might read it on the channel here sometime. We can have some good Star Wars. But that's when they launched that. And then they did Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn. And that was when all the fanboys were like, oh, you squeak, this is Heir to the Empire. I think Heir to the Empire is distinctly average. It fundamentally missed Star Wars. It tried to turn Star Wars into sci-fi when Star Wars is not sci-fi. That's one Timothy Zahn's biggest mistakes as a writer is that he approached Star Wars as sci-fi. But otherwise, it was just kind of a really drawn out story, not well paced. And then everything that came after Heir to the Empire was just even worse. I read the Jedi Academy trilogy by Kevin J. Anderson. Oh my God. I think I've mentioned the story here on the channel, how I was at San Diego Comic-Con. And this was like in the 90s. This was a while back. This is before the prequel trilogy. And I saw Kevin J. Anderson at some event or something. I got to walk up to him and I was an asshole. I feel bad because this is not good behavior. This was totally rude. But I was 20 something. So I was just kind of a jerk. I didn't have good self-awareness. My bad. But I walked up to him and I told him, I was like, your Jedi Academy series sucks. I was like, and you know what though? At least I'll tell you what, a lot of people hide behind like Twitter and stuff. I did this to the guy's face. So at least, you know what? I can feel good about that, as I didn't sit behind Twitter and be like, me. Like I walked up to him face to face. And I forget what he said to me. But it was basically, he didn't quote The Big Lebowski, but it was something like along that lines of like, well, that's your opinion, man, or something. Like he was visibly kind of like bothered that I would say, not that I would had a negative opinion, but I would say it. So, I mean, I was rude just to walk up to someone out of the blue. Your story sucks. But he also remained a level of composure that to this day, like based on today's behavior, I'm like, oh, Kevin J. Anderson, you held yourself pretty well, actually. But anyways, that's my story. Yeah, I read these books by these. Oh my God, did you ever read any Chuck Wendig? If you want to torture yourself, read one of Chuck Wendig's Star Wars books. I only read a portion of it, but it is some of the worst writing. I mean, when I took creative writing classes, I went to an English magnet high school, and I took creative writing. I actually took an equivalent of 6 years of English, when all things considered. Because I took two variations of I took one that was a creative writing class. I took another class that technically was a creative writing class. It wasn't called that. It was called fantasy literature, and then it was a second semester was called modern Gothic literature, and they were the study of those forms of writing, but also you did creative writing in the class too. So anyways, so I got to learn a lot about stuff like that. And, you know, that's why today Dune is one of my favorite books of all time, because we had to do our final on that class based on Dune. Anyways, in that class, we had, when creative writing, what we would grade each other's papers. Like, we would have to pass our stuff around and have it critiqued and learn how to critique other people's work and stuff. And I was like, I read Chuck Wendig's Star Wars books, and I'm like, oh my God, dude, I remember reading, like, my fellow students in high school, like, some of their work was better than this shit. Like, what the fuck? How did some editor greenlight this guy? I don't know, man. People fail upwards these days. Funny enough, I don't know how to fail upward. I wish I could. That's a skill I wish I had, failing upward. I seem to be one of the few people that don't grasp it. Let's see. Melissa says, Ash, I have hope that indie comics and indie entertainment and anime and manga can replace the dying Western entertainment industry. I don't know if they can replace it. I mean, specifically, if you compare like manga to comic books, they're just apples and oranges. I like them both. I like all forms. I like all forms of entertainment, you know, for the most part, especially like storytelling. I like novels. I like short stories. I like comics. I like manga. I like movies. I like TV. So I'm not necessarily particular over one or the other. There's a specific reason I love comic books, you know, specifically from the rest of the crowd, because comics do things that no other industry does. But one of those things is the long form open world storytelling, where it's like a shared universe. No one else really does this. No other medium, which kills me of why the industry seems to be going away from that. The one thing that separates you, makes you different, that makes you a unique experience, you're getting rid of. But whatever. Chris says, I toss Heir to the Jedi in the dumpster. It has no effect on the current canon. No, it doesn't. No, EU never did have effect on the current canon. It was never canon. Lucas was quick to say that. The only book that was canon was Shadows of the Empire, but that was specifically done in conjunction with Lucas. But even still, parts of Heir to the Empire will eventually be canon, because you just know we're going to get Thrawn. We're going to get Thrawn in Disney, because Disney doesn't know what the F they're doing with Star Wars. They don't know how to create. They don't know how to build. They only know how to do is curate. So they hire a bunch of these fanfic writers, and they go write Star Wars, but they don't know how to like build a universe. So they do is they just take the existing characters and they keep stirring them up and putting them in new scenarios. And it's like, how many times can you tell stories of Luke, Han, and Leia, and, you know, now Finn, Rey, and Poe, and it's like you just keep over and over the same characters. And now we got Ahsoka, or not Ahsoka, Ahsoka. No, Ahsoka. I can't even say the name right. Ahsoka Tano. Like, no, it's like, that's the greatest thing. And it's like, because Ahsoka Tano was a creation. Do you see why fans are like excited? Because something new came out of the Clone Wars. That was new. That's what Star Wars is kind of exciting, is what you're seeing, things you've never seen before. And now Ahsoka Tano isn't new anymore. Now it's just going to be a regurgitated thing that we just do over and over. Oh, look, we brought back Boba Fett. It's like, sorry. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, and I don't get to talk about Star Wars anymore because most everyone's black-pilled on it. And so when I do get to talk about it, I get all over enthusiastic. Doug Johnson says, I want more Lobo. You know what? I want more Lobo too, and I don't even know squat about Lobo. I remember when he came out, and I was a big Marvel fanboy, and I looked down my nose at DC, and it was something I was like, oh, okay. DC fans were, they were loving their Lobo. Like it was almost like there was like, we got our own Wolverine, you stupid Marvel fans. I can totally remember that. But I was happy. I was cool. I was like, yeah, cool. DC, you got a cool character. Bravo. That was my uptight, or not my uptight. That was my upstart youth that I told you about. But I want to see him back. Lobo seems to be a character that deserves. He's like earned a place in the pantheon, right? Why are we getting, new Wonder Girl? Why are we getting new stupid Aquaman woman? It's Aquaman, but she's a woman. Like, why are we getting all these stupid? Why aren't you giving Lobo a book? Whatever. Let's see. Sequel novels are better than the films. The sequel novels are better than the films. What's? Oh, you mean the novelizations of the films? Yeah, I definitely think the novel for Force Awakens was better, and the novel for Last Jedi had some details in there that I thought enhanced things. I think Last Jedi is one of the most underappreciated films, perhaps could be in history. That film is become such a weird snowball of obsessive hate. I almost liken the haters of Last Jedi to like anti-Trumpers. It's like become this derangement syndrome where it's the concept of hating Last Jedi has become a life of its own. And people don't even really think about it. It's like they don't really think about Trump. Once they've settled in that Trump is bad, it's like they don't need to know anything else. You can say, well, did you hear that Trump is doing this? Trump just cured cancer. Oh, shut up. Trump is the worst thing. Yeah, but he just brought about world peace. Oh, fuck Trump. It's the same thing with Last Jedi. Like people they don't want to think about the film. They don't want to have an open mind about it anymore. They are committed to hating it no matter what. They're so in on that. Like there's no even talking to them because they have no desire to change their mind. They have the outlook. It's really bizarre. And I think it's the best thing that Disney has done for Star Wars since getting the franchise. I'm happy to talk about it too. I just don't get to because the only people that talk about it are fucking go ballistic and hate it. DC needs to stop with the artistic choices in terms of dialogue, balloons, and captions. Between red weird lettering on black and Clown Killer's weird no capital letters font, it needs to stop now. Well, that's an opinion that Mirandi has for sure. I kind of like one of the things that Disney's done with some of these choices with the font. Some of them are hard to read, like the Batman Who Laughs stuff. I was like, I appreciate you're doing some art. Can you do a happy medium? Can we compromise? Can we have a colorful word balloon or whatever, but also choose something that is readable? But one of the things I like that modern comics have done specifically is in the lettering is where they will have like labeled word balloons. Sometimes it's just a border, or sometimes they'll put like a symbol on the very first word balloon. So like, hey, it's like you see the Superman symbol. And so Superman is the one talking here. Oftentimes when you're doing word balloons and they're like off panel and you don't know who it's pointing to, you don't know who's talking. Modern comics have gotten the message in that respect. Lord says Thrawn is going to be back. Thrawn will be the villain for the Ahsoka series. Whoop-de-doo. Don't care for Disney, Star Wars, or modern Star Trek and Doctor Who, says Melissa. I actually really like Star Trek Discovery. It's a good show. It does have some wokeness in it. No, there's no argument. I'm not arguing that. But the writing and the storytelling is enough for me to stomach the wokeness. Although it does make my eyes roll every time I see it. I like Batman Beyond and Spider-Man 2099. Says Melissa. Man, you guys are typing up a storm. I got to try to get to the bottom of the list. Melissa says I'm not black-pilled. Melissa, you're kind of black-pilled. I'm rational, prefer classic entertainment over modern. I am Fandom Menace, Comicsgate, and Gamergate, but I consider them a consumer revolt and nothing more. Well, Melissa, Fandom Menace is 100% a black pill. I have never met anyone in Fandom Menace who wasn't black pilled. The whole purpose of Fandom Menace is to black pill you. and to black pill anyone that they talk to and bring in. It is absolutely. That's why I stay so far away from Fandom Menace. And I have people is like yourself and other people that I can have conversations, friendly conversations, no hate between each other. But I just don't agree with the Fandom Menace. I think it's I think it's a very closed-minded way to look at things. Even if they're right sometimes. I'm not saying Fandom Menace is never right. That's not. All entertainment dies when Western entertainment dies. I don't know about that, Doug. That seems a little presumptuous. Melissa says, turn Luke into a blue milk drinking cuck named Jake. You know Luke drinks blue milk since always. I don't know what that reference is. Yeah, this is one of my problems with Fandom Menace is when they make comments like this. I'm like, it was never a problem in the original trilogy, Blue Milk, and now all of a sudden it is. She says, Phantom Menace are not bad people. Well, I don't think they're bad people. I just think they're black-pilled. And I think it hurts their ability to appreciate things. And I think it pushes other fans away because not everyone wants to think like everyone else. I certainly don't like groupthink. And Phantom Menace, it really woke me up one day when I tweeted that I liked The Last Jedi, and I received tons of flame tweets by Fandom Menace telling me I was an idiot. You know, and I tell you the story all the time about Professor Geek, how he made a video basically calling anyone who likes The Last Jedi a dumbass. So, yeah, they're black-pilled. They're totally black-pilled, Melissa. But let's get on with the comics. Today, like I said, we're doing something slightly different than I normally am doing. It's kind of the same. It's not a big difference. But one thing I'm going to do, I always talk about, comic deals and stuff, is I want to point this out. These are deals that are happening that you can last until January 3rd. And the first one is this Marvel Masterworks sale. And I had everything already in my cart, and I was going to show you because I was buying quite a few of these, but you can get some super deals on Marvel Masterworks right now. Like one of the ones I was getting, it says Miss Marvel, Volume 1, 84 cents for the whole volume. There's, what was the other ones I was going to get? I think there was like a Silver Surfer. I had a few in my cart that I was going to get, but I want to show you, I mean, most of the volume ones are under $1, and then all the other volumes past number 1 are under $2. And that's huge. If you like classic comics, you can find a ton of these really good deals. And if you're like, me, if you're like, modern comics kind of suck and whatever, here you go. Here you can experience some of the great stuff. Here's the back issues without having to spend a ton of money because it's hard times. It's Christmas. We got COVID. We got all sorts of things going on. Or maybe you want to gift someone something. I don't know. Maybe of someone who's a digital comic reader and you want to give them something for Christmas, but you don't want to spend a ton of money because of all the things I just said. There you go. Like I said, look at all these. Just page after page of classic comics. This is Marvel Masterworks is where it's at for Silver Age stuff. I'm trying to find. I just want to get the silver. Here it is. Silver Surfer, Volume 1. Stan Lee and John Buscema for 84 cents. Boom, it's in my cart. Then Marvel has another sale that's going on. It's not bigger, but it's more exciting for me because it's up my jam, and it is the where is it? I think it's the Instant Classic sale here. Sorry, takes me a second. Here, you can get, when we were talking about events, here's Absolute Carnage. The entire event, just the core issues, not the spin-offs, but $3.39. I mean, that was a fun book. And it's Ryan Stegman art. Fun book, for sure. That's totally worth $3.39. Where was it? Here it is. Nope, that's not it. Oh, so some of the Daredevils by Chip Zdarsky. You got volume 2, or no, volume 3, volume 4. That's not it though. Oh yeah, here it is. Marvels. Picking this one up. $2.54 for the entire Marvel series, including the updated, because they came out with a new issue recently, Marvel's Epilogue in 2019. So this is the original 4-issue series, annotated. So if you don't have the annotated edition, now you can. And you get the Marvel's Epilogue book, which would have cost you more than $2.54 anyway, just for that book. Yeah, that's going to my cart. Marvels is one of the best things Marvel's ever done. I might read that on the stream sometime too, especially now that I have a digital copy. I have a physical copy. I have the original books, and I have a hardcover, or not a hardcover, but I have a hard copy of the trade paper, the original trade paperback, and now I'm getting digital. I love Marvel. If you've never read Marvels, don't stop what you're doing now. You can listen to the show later on. Go grab yourself a copy. You can get look at some of the Venom books by Donny Cates, volume 3 and 4. Plus, this is actually volume 1, but they've done it now as Marvel Select Edition. This is a good series, by the way. Donny Cates rebooted Venom and made him a better character. Donny Cates did for Venom similar to what Frank Miller did for Daredevil, what Walt Simonson did for Thor. Like, he just added enough new dimension for the character to take him to the next level, in my opinion. Where was it? I'm sorry that it's not here. There's a ton of stuff on sale. Sometimes the best way to do it is to just go and look for the books you want. I make a wish list, and then whatever's on, actually that's the way to do it, is whatever's on the wish list, you just kind of browse through your wish list from time to time and then see like what's on sale. So yeah, let's see, where was it? Oh yeah, here we go. Daredevil by Ed Brubaker, volume 1, the complete. Add to cart. Daredevil by Ed Brubaker, volume 2, add to cart. Look at that, under $4. Volume 3, and these are the big collections. So I have all those in my cart. What else is cheap? Look at these. Whole trades of Brubaker Captain America for like $1.99, $2.99, like super cheap. What else was I gonna get? Oh yeah, right here. Fantastic Four, Hickman's run. I'm missing volumes 5 and 6, and I already have that. That. What else? Yeah, this is a good way. It's like so much, and DC's got a bunch of stuff on sale too. The deals just aren't quite as amazing as Marvel, but of course that's because people actually care about reading DC stuff. It's better. So some of these are on sale. So if you're a DC fan, tons of good stuff. Look at some holes in Rebirth. Like, I don't have volume 6 of Aquaman or the Mira miniseries. I've been meaning to fill that out. But this is something I've been wanting to get. Lois and Clark. So this was from the New 52 to Rebirth, and the whole story of how Clark, the pre-Flashpoint Clark and Kent. Anyways, I never got this story, so tons of good stuff. I think that's enough for now. We'll see. Look at this. Super cheap. All these trade paperbacks. $24. Yeah, I gotta pull the trigger. Proceed to checkout. Complete order. Less than $25. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some of these are bigger than trades. Those Brubaker Daredevils are pretty sizable from what I understand. So there you go. There's a comic book haul live on Ashland Comics. All right, we're going to get to the comic book. Sorry about dilly-dallying. I did that much longer than I expected to. I didn't know my cart would disappear. And I was hoping that RDV and Breen and all those guys would show up. And, oh, look, now they're here. Melissa Marani says, Ash, are you sharing your screen? No, because I'm a moron. Because I didn't transition it correctly. Well, let's see. Here we go. Now my screen is shared. So everything that I was just saying, and you weren't following along, you can see my purchase was successful. Marvel Masterworks Volume 1 for Miss Marvel. I was told that Miss Marvel was good once, and lo and behold, she was launched by Chris Claremont. I'm a Chris Claremont guy, so I'm going to go check out this old school Miss Marvel. I got Silver Surfer Masterworks by one of my favorite characters of all time, Silver Surfer. Less than $1. Jeez, for both of these. There's probably going to be more Masterworks I'm going to go back and pick up too. Marvel's 25th anniversary. Daredevil by Ed Brubaker, Michael Lark. Ultimate Collection Volumes 1, 2, and 3. So it's the complete collection. I now have the entire Ed Brubaker Daredevil. And now I have the entire Jonathan Hickman Fantastic Four with Volumes 5 and 6. These were just a couple bucks. And then I've got Superman, Lois, and Clark by our boy Dan Jurgens, back when Superman was amazing, before Bendis came along and ruined it. And I spent less than $25, just tons of books here. I think each of these Daredevil books are like 3 trades a piece. So that's like 9 trades right there. Anyways, I like to share deals with you. You guys are comic fans, but I also know many of you don't like to spend a lot of money, so here's some options. Now, meanwhile, why is it not transitioning over to the comic? There it is. Let's get on with Amazing Spider-Man. Now, this is a book. I was hoping RDV would be here because RDV gifted me this book. That was very nice of him for Christmas. He knew that I like Spider-Man. He wanted me to read some classic Spider-Man stories, something that meant something to him. And that's another thing, too, I like reading. I really like when I get to experience something that was meaningful to someone else. Recently, not too long ago, I got to experience the John Byrne Man of Steel from Eric Breen. This is a comic book that, had a special place in Eric's heart that, he really liked and enjoyed. He thought I would like it too, so he shared it with me. And, I ended up buying it because he recommended it and I enjoyed it. But he also ended up sending me a physical copy to have, which now I get to, cherish as kind of a keepsake. But I like that. I like seeing what other people like and then sharing it. Sometimes when you read things that mean something to someone else. You get to learn a little bit about them. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting sappy now, but I'm a sappy kind of guy. So tonight we're going to be reading some Amazing Spider-Man. Going forward, for the time being, the story time is going to be all focused on a singular book, and it's not going to just be numbered like it was. I can label it so you can go back, read Amazing Spider-Man. You can all be together. You can skip past all my mumbo jumbo that I did and just jump right to the comic book when it's on replay. You don't have to listen to me live if you don't want. And if I'm not too lazy, I'll even put a timestamp so you can just click on it and know right where it's at. Or you can just fast forward until you see the comic on the screen, like so, and we'll get on the show. Take a swig of beer, and Eric says sharing with himself. Oh, man. I fail so bad. All right. Here we go. Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 9, starting with issue 87 by Stan Lee with John Romita art. Let me see how many issues is this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 issues long. You can get this for under $2, by the way, on Comixology right now. Venkman paid full price. Thank you, Venkman. That was very generous of you. I'm not going to read the introduction by John Romita. Issue 78, The Night of the Prowler. The city is quiet tonight. Almost too quiet. Like the lull before a storm. By Stan Lee, author, John Buscema, innovator, Jim Mooney, illustrator, Sam Rosen, letterer. Featuring the origin of a dramatic new supervillain. But anyway, the case of the petrified tablet is ended, and the lizard won't be causing any more trouble for a while. Editor note, and as you read issues 75 through 77, you know about as much as we do. Stan. So why am I here looking for trouble? Spider-Man's had enough nonstop action to last me for months. So it's time I forgot about the little old web slinger for a while and paid some attention to the private life of Peter Parker, who happens to be my favorite civilian. Now you're getting with it, man. Why stick to wall crawling when there's a certain little blonde I can't get off my mind? I have a lot of making up to do with Gorgeous Gwen, and this is as good a time as... Uh-oh. Can't use the phone without a dime. Hey, how about that? Down under this grating. I'll never knock my spider powers again. They sure come in handy sometimes. The bulb's burned out. I'll have to dial the number by feel. I hope Gwendy's home because, hey, who's that pounding on the door? Thump, 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 thump. Get out of there, punk, and let a man use the blasted phone. Come on, move your butt, mister, before I get in there and move it for you. A muscle-bound loudmouth who can't recognize me in the shadows. Okay, punk. Don't say I didn't warn you. Don't shout, sweetie. You'll strain your larynx. I'm being lifted with just one hand, and he ain't even straining. I don't know who that was, but I ain't staying around to find out. I'm just a guy who doesn't like being interrupted when I'm calling my girl. Especially by some creep with no couth. Great. Gwendy's home. Better lift my mask so my voice won't sound muffled. Hi, pretty girl. Guess who? Well, since Dustin Hoffman doesn't know my number, it must be Peter Parker. What? You want to drop by in a few minutes? Oh, I'm sorry, Peter. I'm afraid I just can't see you tonight. I've got something to attend to. So he finally decided to call you, huh? Well, I guess I can't expect doll like Gwen to be available on a moment's notice. Maybe she's going out to dinner with her dad or something. Though, I wouldn't have expected her to sound so secretive. Nuts. What's with me anyway? I've been around supervillains so long that I don't trust anybody anymore. A gal like Gwen would never put her fella down. Unless she didn't think of him as her fella. Look, it's Spider-Man! Gosh, I always thought he was a giant. If you're really Spider-Man, could I please have your autograph? Oh, brother, this is all I need. Wait till I tell the wife about this. I think I liked it better when they were scared of me. All of a sudden, I'm as in as Tiny Tim. I might as well go home and get some shut-eye. Which is a heck of a way for a swinging superhero to spend an evening in a fateful, fog-shrouded city filled with a mystery and drama. Boy, I'd better get some rest. I'm beginning to sound like a grade B. Uh-oh. I can't go in yet. Not till Harry hits the hay. And if that's Mary Jane he's talking to, I could be here all night. From that smile on his face, it must be MJ. Just my luck to have a lovesick roomie. Only to me this could happen. Finally, 20 minutes later, another few minutes and I'd have built myself a nest out here. Wouldn't it be something if it was Gwen he was talking to and not Mary Jane? What's the matter with me? I'm beginning to act like a jealous schoolboy. And what's worse, I feel like one. It's still early. Maybe I better bone up on my physics before I turn in. Just once, I'd like to be prepared for what we're going to talk about in class. But, as the minutes crawl by, it's no use. I can't get Gwendy out of my mind. Maybe if I walk past her house, I'll run into her. Or, I can always ring the bell and say I came to talk to Captain Stacy. I know it's a boneheaded idea, but it's better than just sitting around in my room wondering. When I was fighting for my life against the lizard, I didn't have much of a chance to think of her. But now, suddenly I realize how much I really miss the girl. Maybe she stopped in at the coffee pot for a cup of Java. Nah, not much chance of that. She always said it didn't mean a thing unless we were together. Hey, wait a minute. Who's that? Promise that you'll be honest with me, Flash. You know I will, Gwen. It isn't possible. It just isn't. I guess I've known Pete for as long as anyone else around here. I know you have. That's why you're the one I turn to. I thought you might know something about him. Something from his past, perhaps, that might explain his mysterious disappearances. He was the same way years ago, Gwen. Whenever something exciting happened, he'd cut out. Most of the gang just thought he was a chicken and let it go at that. But he isn't. He's as courageous as anyone I know. I know he is. There must be another reason. I've got to learn the secret that he's hiding. He means so much to me. If he's in trouble, I have to help him. But our hero, alas, hears nothing that is said. He only knows what his anguished eyes have seen. Gwen and Flash Thompson. So that's how it is. I wouldn't have believed it of her, not in a million years. I thought that she and I... Hey, watch where you're walking, runt. The little fella ain't answering you, Big Joe. Maybe the little fella's got his ears stuffed with cotton, huh? But we know how to unstuff little fella's ears, don't we, Big Joe? You can say that again, pal. Hey, little fella, how about turning around, now? Nice and easy. Well, looky here, Big Joe. He heard ya. I think we woke the little fella up. Up against the wall, creeps. Walk. Nice. Oh no. I forgot myself. I brushed them aside without even thinking. They'll be okay. But if I had swung harder, no telling what might have happened. Anyway, I better take off before someone puts two and two together and guesses my secret. Heartsick and dejected, the wary youth walks aimlessly through the night until the following morning. What a night! I didn't study, didn't even sleep, and lost the girl I love. I'll bet even that window cleaner hasn't half the worries that I do. Wonder if he knows how lucky he is. But strangely enough, as Peter walks by, nursing his own solemn thoughts, the window cleaner, too, has similar thoughts. Why can't I make it like all those other Joes down there? How come everything I do ever works out right for Hobby Brown? Okay, so I'm stuck cleaning these crummy windows. But this ain't gonna last forever. Or maybe you're kidding yourself, Hobby Boy. Maybe this is the best you can do. How's a guy ever gonna amount to be anything? To ever gonna be somebody if nobody'll give him a chance? If nobody'll believe in him? I can take it from the rest of the pack. But then, when Mindy started putting me down, you gotta snap out of it, Hobby. Stop feeling so sorry for yourself. I know how clever you are, how great you are at inventing things. But you're still young. It takes time to be discovered, time to reach the goal that you're trying for. Don't treat me like a kid, Mindy. We both know I'm just never gonna make it. Okay, so you're just Okay, so you're just a nowhere window washer. What's to stop you from giving that all you got? Why not try some of your new ideas to the man you work for? What do you got to lose? You don't know him, Mindy. He only hired me to fill out a quota. Then, there's nothing more for us to say. You have an excuse for everything. If you act like a born loser, you'll be a loser. And that's not what I want, Hobby. Mindy, wait. Come back here, honey. Back? To what? I'm tired of your being your crying towel. I figured maybe she was right. I decided to play it her way. So the next day, hey, why aren't you out with the rest of the crew, Brown? I gotta show you, Mr. Clark. I got something to show you. It won't take long. Diagrams? What are they for? They're safety devices I've been working on. See, new types of belt harness and toggle hooks. Use your head, kid. You know what it would cost to scrap all of our old equipment? Now get back to your windows here. That's what I'm paying you for. But you didn't even look at these things. They can help the guys work faster, safer. Yeah. I'm all shook up. Now get back to work before I dock you. But I'm not going to take it much longer. There's got to be some way to crack the establishment. Some way to really do my thing. And Hobby Brown's going to find it. What's that guy inside trying to tell me? What's the matter, man? Did I miss a great big spy fleck or something? Don't get flip with me, kid. I can chew up a dozen smart mouths like you before breakfast. I just wanted to tell you to stop daydreaming and get with it. The guy you work for is outside checking up on his crew. Oh, he did he? Well, you can tell him for me. And I wanted you to know why I spent a half hour on that little one window. Oh, sorry. And he wanted, sorry, I got take 3. And he wanted to know why you spent a half an hour in that one little window. Oh, he did he? Well, you can tell him from me. Simmer down, son. I got a newspaper to worry about. You can do your own telling. I just wanted to tip you off, that's all. Oh, that's J. Jonah. I didn't recognize him. Didn't do the J. Jonah voice. All right. Sorry about that. So, that's the way you work. Sorry, that's the way you get your work done, huh, Brown? Wasting time here in Mr. Jameson's office, talking up a blue streak. You trying to sell him some of your inventions on my time? He's not selling me anything. I called him to complain about the prices you charge. I wanted him to tell you I'm sick of paying through the nose to get my windows cleaned. You mean it was you that slowed him up around here? You better believe it, Curly. I still run this place. You don't have to try to go to bat for me, mister. He can take his crummy job and, well, he knows what he can do with it. I just quit. That's okay with me, Brown. I've had it with your type. What do you mean, my type? Clark, shut your big yap or I'll do it for you. What? You're siding with him, Mr. Jameson? If you don't know, you never will. Now, take off, Clark. All of a sudden, I don't like the smell around here. Slam. Well, that sinks it. I'm out of a job, my chick walked out on me, and I'm heading straight for nowhere. Yeah, it's a real great life, hobby baby. Lucky my rent's paid up for the rest of the month, 'cause the bread's all run out. I've been spending every cent I made on my workshop equipment, and a fat lot of good it's done me. But maybe I've been going about it the wrong way. Maybe you can't sell anything until you sell yourself. Nobody cares what Hobby Brown invented, 'cause nobody cares about Hobby Brown. But I don't have to remain Hobby Brown. I can do what other cats do. I'll make myself a costume, give myself a name that nobody can forget, and use some of the things I invented to make it look like I got superpowers. It can be done, and I'm the guy to do it. I've rigged up this bracelet gizmo to shoot special cleaning fluids into the window glass. But the pellets can be just as easily filled with gas and other stuff. And these steel-tipped gloves, which I designed to give us a better grip on the side of the sheer walls, they'll be perfect for my plan. But wait a minute. Just being a nutty superhero isn't the whole answer. I'll need publicity, need people to talk about me. And I want it fast, like now. Being a superhero can be too slow. It can take too long. It may be days, weeks before I can find some crook to tackle. But a supervillain can go into the action right away. So which'll I be? Heck, it ain't even a contest. And so, a strangely dramatic new costumed character is born. A masked, mysterious being destined to be known far and wide as the Prowler. Now to test the powers of mine, which are mine to use. Swoosh. First, a single pellet propelled by a blast of highly compressed air, strong enough to shatter a 3-inch plank like it was nothing. Next, my special insulated boots. I made them as a safety feature for working outside of buildings, but since nobody cared about that, I'll put them to use in my own way. I'm gonna have to move fast, and the greater heights that I can leap from, the better. So far, so good. Everything checks out. Now all I have to do is let the Prowler be seen committing some kind of crime. And then, later, Hobby Brown will recover the loot and return it and be a hero. My plan can't fail. But, as someone may have said before us, The best laid plans of mice and men have a way of being mouse-trapped. Ergo, I've got to send my Aunt May some money, and that's just one thing I just don't got right now. Maybe I can hit old Jameson for an advance on the next batch of action photos. The early edition has to be put to bed by now, and most of the staff is gone, so there won't be too many people around to hear him rant and rave. Oh, what's this? I hate when it letters like this cross panel. But he's in his usual rampaging mood. Anything I can do for you? Oh, hi, Mr. Robertson. Is Jolly Jonah in his office? He sure is, Parker. He never leaves till he's checked the final galleys. Pause here. So the lettering suggests that you read from cross panel, but you start at the top. This annoys me. Sorry. Anything I can do for you? Afraid not, Mr. R. I'm kind of low on funds, and I thought I'd appeal to the world-famous, generous, soft-hearted nature. It'll be like pleading with a hunk of granite, but you're welcome to try. I've tangled with him before. Personally, I prefer the granite. And, in case you've been wondering what we're leading up to, Regardes? What? What the hell is Regardes? And in case you've been wondering what we're leading up to, Regardes. My best bet is to pull a robbery right inside a newspaper office. If I'm looking for publicity, I might as well go to the source. My boots and claw gloves are working even better than I planned. It's beginning to look like the Prowler can't miss. Meanwhile, within the sanctum sanctorum of the estimable JJJ. No. Not a chance. Absolutely negative. Not on your life. Forget it. The answer is definitely positively no. I think you're trying to tell me something. When's the last time you brought me any good crime pics, eh? When was the last time you brought me an exclusive shot of that low-down rotten wall crawler? Am I supposed to pay for it whenever you take a vacation? Vacation? What vacation? When you're not bringing me front-page pictures, you're on vacation as far as I'm concerned, kiddo. So, if you need any dough to go to the bank, I'm through being everyone's fall guy. Fall guy? You? You've still got your first nickel you've ever chiseled. Okay, keep your money. I'll get it elsewhere. Good. That's what I've been telling you to do. Wham! Can't anyone ever leave without slamming the blasted door? I wouldn't bring that hard-hearted heel another picture if they... Hey, something's wrong. My spider sense tingling like mad. But what can it be? Where's it coming from? Nothing in the elevator, so it must be right here on this floor. Wait. There, around the corner. The sounds of a scuffle. Better not stop to change into my spidey threads. Every minute may count. Holy smoke. Who's that with the payroll bag? Beat it, kid. Don't stick your nose where it doesn't belong. The watchman, he's been hurt. It was his own fault. I didn't want to do it. But now since you're so anxious to be a hero, I'll have to give you the same treatment I gave him. Hey, what's going on here? Jameson, I can't let him see me holding my own against this guy without arousing his suspicions. So what do I do now? Next, no turning back. Can you believe that was 20 pages? Holy crap, there's so much content. in old school comics versus today. Oh, man. Let's see. Ed Brewer says, that's my Spidey. Ho, 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 says Zach. The way Ramita Sr. draws Peter, he looks like a knockoff Dick Clark. He looks like Peter Parker. This is classic original Spider-Man. Well, besides Ditko. This is John Romita Sr. Ed says Sr. won the Spirit Award for Artist. He is fantastic. Wow, the angle on Hobby in the one panel, he had his head look like the leaders. Eric Breen says, it's pronounced Hobie. That's racist, Eric. He's not a hoe. Is it Hobie? Why is it? I don't know. Sorry. I don't know how to pronounce names I've never seen before. I'm calling him Hobby. Because he looks like a hob. Whatever that is. Ed says, you need to work on your New York accent. Well, you need to work on your criticism skills. It's kind of abrupt. Not everyone in New York has a New York accent. Some people move there. I should know. I'm Californian. We move everywhere. Ronnie says, oh, snap. This dialogue wouldn't fly these days. Yeah, it sure wouldn't. Dragon Ball Talk is in the house. Welcome. Good to see you, Dragon Ball. He says, Friday the 13th game online. Dragon Ball likes to come to my channel and talk about video games and talk about me playing video games instead of reading comics when it's a comic book channel. I don't know if you know where you are, Dragon Ball, but this is a comic book talk time. I'm talking about comic books. I know you're not a big fan of comic books. That's okay. By the way, I don't play Friday the 13th anyway. Ed Brewer says, doesn't he do gyros? Doesn't he do Euros or something? I don't. Why did Euros come in? Melissa says, I miss classic Spider-Man. There's no way a guy who's poor, living in an apartment and makes expensive suit for futuristic gadgets like that. I don't know. Maybe. Let's just face it. There's no way someone makes a suit like that. Period. This is all like fake science. Like the idea that general people can make suits that turn them into super villains or superheroes is kind of ridiculous anyway. Let's see. Ed says he's not out fighting a cosmic entity and hanging with superheroes. He's facing a troubled kid go down a bad path. Yeah, this is great. Like classic street level Spider-Man stuff, and I really like the attention to the Prowler and sort of like his story. Like the whole Spider-Man story gets put on pause, and we get this little backstory about the Prowler and why he's doing what he's doing. It makes you care about the villain more. Let's see, this Prowler suit is awesome as hell. It says Melissa. I agree. That costume design is pretty sharp and good for the 4-color printing technology of the day, says Maranya. So, if Hobie were in his living room, Hobie just sounds dumb. I'm going to call him Hobby. That would make it a Hobby Lobby. Zach Richmond for you there. Dragon says, I'm stoned. All right. Eric says, no, but if he was tugging at his ear, it would be a Hobby Lobby or Hobie Lobby. Yeah, that was a reach, Eric. Zach got you there, Ash. Yeah, I guess he did. Hobie costume is impressive for the time. Yeah, it's impressive for now. What are you talking about for the time? Let's see. Dragon Ball says, I am Dragon Blood Bud on PS4, I believe, is where he is that. He didn't stay. Yeah. That's it. They're talking about Friday the 13th video game. Boring. Let's read some classic comic books. All right, I'm going to read one more issue of Spider-Man. But didn't you think, like, man, I was reading that. I was like, man, this feels like a 48-page comic. It's just like chock full of content. There's so much going on. And then you get to the end, and you can see the numbering down the corner. Remember when they used to number? I can't do this. Stupid. Can't highlight it. But down at the bottom, where it says no turning back, you can see the number 20. All right. Issue number 79 of The Amazing Spider-Man. The Prowler No More. Oh, can I take a drink? Whew. It's not the best beer I've ever had, gotta say. Eric says, busy day tomorrow. Gotta get some Z's. Good night, kids. I knew you weren't an old school Spider-Man fan, Eric. Always finding a way to get out of here. I'm reading some good stuff, and Eric takes off. RDV didn't even show. He's the one that bought me the comic, so I don't know what's going on with him. Oh, man. But he did read these, I'm pretty sure. So that's why he recommended. So, Melissa says, back then it would be more advanced along with Spider-Man web shooter technology. Yeah, I guess. Neither technologies exist today, so I think it would still be pretty advanced. Eric says 2 days before Christmas in retail. Enough said. Oh, I see what you're saying, Eric. You got to work in the morning. And speak RDV, and he shall appear. He says, yo, my spider sense was tingling. What's up, RDV? Good of you to finally make it. As I promised you before, I am reading the Marvel Masterworks Volume 9 that you gifted me to our lovely audience. Get some comic book action from, I believe this is the Silver Age. I think this qualifies as Silver Age. It's tough to say, but this has been fun. I like Stanley and John Romita Sr. This is a cool story so far. Let's see. RDB says, not much. Building my list of new comics to buy later today. Oh, yeah, it's comic book day. I might have to swing by the store myself. I have to see what my list is. All right, now we are continuing on to the second book of the evening, The Amazing Spider-Man, Prowler No More. Someone in a costume robbing J. Jonah Jameson's office. But I can't fight him as Peter Parker. I'll have to pretend that the shock made me lose balance and sent me toppling through the window. What kind of plan is this? Peter Parker, you're a moron. I don't want J. Jonah Jameson to put 2 and 2 together to find out that I'm Spider-Man, so I'll fall off this window. He'll never figure it out when I survive a fall from a skyscraper. This is one of those things you didn't think through. Oh, let's see. By reaching out, touching the buildings with my spider powers, I'll break my fall. And, lucky for me, it's nighttime, when no one is apt to see what's happening. When no one is apt to see what's happening. Just another few stories to go. Wow, that's a crazy pose, Peter. Made it. And now to get up there again before he gets away. Meanwhile, many floors above. It isn't possible. I never even touched him. What made him go through the window? Sorry. I've only had one beer. I haven't even finished. Hold on, I gotta finish this beer. Oh man, that's what we need now, man. This Ash drunk reading comics. That would be something. Oh, Marani is correcting me. Says that one is Jim Mooney art, not Ramita Senior. I think Marani has corrected me. I stand corrected. Thank you, Marani. I didn't plan it this way. I didn't plan to be a murderer. Come on, Robbie. He ran in here and there he is. But where's Parker? He was here with them. And there's no way out except the window. Look at it. You murdered the kid. No, I didn't. I did it. Sweet. He's getting away. At least the rotten killer didn't get any of my money. He just killed Parker. That's okay though. At least he didn't get my money. Look at the face. This is chewing on a cigar. But what about poor Parker? At least Robbie's got a heart. Jeez. The kid. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, RDV's gifted me one of the best comics of all time. Hey, what's going on here? There's no sign of him. I don't even see the Prowler there. But if the bewildered publisher had thought to look up, at least one of his questions would be answered. It's easier for me to reach the roof than the street. So, you're the Prowler that Jolly Jonah was wondering about, huh? Spider-Man. I don't know what your game is, chum, but this city's already overstocked with costume cut-ups. So, come on up and out. You won't do nothing, man. Kick to the face. I like how Spider-Man, historically, apparently since the beginning of Spider-Man, his spider sense just selectively works. It's just like when we need Spider-Man to dodge bullets or certain doom or whatever, but spider sense works. But when we need a villain to be able to kick him in the face like that, spider sense not work. It's just one of those things. It's like the Flash. When he needs to have super speed. Oh, I'll talk about the Flash after this. Let's get back to the comic. That's what you're here for. I'm in enough trouble now without messing around with someone like him. Hold it there, mister. The least you could do was wave goodbye. He's back on his feet again, ready for action. After that kick I gave him. How strong can he be? No one's pinning a murder rap on me. No one. An air blast like this can stop anything. Shoosh. Slop. But he sounds like he's young. But he sure's got a lot on the ball. I'm sure as heck facing no panty waist. Nice. I have a hunch he hasn't any natural powers like mine, but those gizmos he's got going for him more than make up for it. So here's where old Spidey takes off the kid gloves. It's for your own good, Prowler. A fella can catch his death of cold on these chilly old walls. Dangerous as he is, my spider sense still isn't tingling. Which could mean he's not as bad as a menace as I thought he was. And yet, I saw him try to rob Jolly Jonah. Well, lucky for me, I was never sworn in as judge or jury. I never expected to run into someone like you my first time out, but not even Spider-Man has the power to stop me. The jails are full of guys who made that same corny speech. So you think I'm corny, huh? You think I'm just bragging, eh? Look, I'm real flattered that my opinion means so much, but you'll have to be faster than that to make me change my mind. Scratch. Keep talking, smart guy. I'm just getting started. Looks to me like you're just about finished, especially the way that their claw got stuck in the thick roof tar. Ugh. Maybe this will teach you that you're not the only one who can come up with a surprise. Didn't expect me to have gas pellets in my boot, huh? Whoosh. Aha! The old gas pellets in the boot trick, eh? I can't even clown around. The gas really made me groggy. And to make things worse, I hear him getting his hand free. Thwack. I did it. I fought Spider-Man himself to a standstill my first time around. He's getting away, and the gas made me too woozy to stop him. He still isn't really any match for me. I should have had him unmasked by now, if I'd had sense enough to just hold my breath. Well, it's no big deal. I'll run into him again sooner or later, and when I do, it'll be the end of the Prowler. At least he served one good purpose. He made me forget about Gwen ditching me for Flash Thompson. Editor's note, it happened, or so Spidey thinks, last issue. Remember? Stan. Meanwhile, but if Parker did fall through the window, what happened to him? How in the blazes do I know? Maybe that blasted Prowler carried him away. Robbie, Mr. Jameson? Listen, that voice calling us. Parker, what the devil's going on here? I thought you were dead. Sorry to disappoint you, mister. When I tumbled through the window, Spider-Man was nearby and he grabbed me, saving my life. Thank heaven you're okay, son. The webhead, did you get any pictures of him? Oh, this is classic Stan. Oh, man. Robbie's just like, thank heaven you're okay. And Joan Jameson's like, did you get any pictures? Bringing you a front page scoop wasn't exactly my biggest worry just then. Lucky I thought of that Spidey angle. They seem to be swallowing it. You look bushed, kid. Better go home and get some rest. Yeah, I'll do that, Mr. R.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Oh, shut up, Siri. Sorry. For some reason, Siri just decides to butt into things. Yeah, I'll do that, Mr. R. Can't clear my head. That gas really got me. Punk kid. Would it have killed him to bring me back some pics we could use? Lay off him, JJ. We got a whole staff of photographers. Yeah, but none of them manages to run into Spider-Man as often as him. Minutes later, I'm finally snapping out of it now, but I still feel like I've been kicked by a mule. Why not be honest with yourself, Parker? Why not admit it? It hurts a lot more when I think of Gwen than the Prowler's gas blast could ever hurt me. I could always wait for a rematch if some costume clown manages to beat me the first time around. But what does a fella do when he learns that he gave his heart to the wrong girl? Foreshadowing. Slowly, torturously, the troubled youth finally falls into a fitful sleep, hardly knowing where the dreams leave off and reality begins. While in another part of town, I'm home at last, still safe, still undiscovered. But I thought it would be a lark. I thought I'd win fame, glory. I didn't know I'd end up accused of murder. What made him do it? What made that guy toss himself out the window? Was it because I scared him? Because he panicked when he saw me? Did he think I was really trying to kill him? If so, does that make me just as guilty as if I'd really pushed him out? Has Hobie Brown become a murderer? I did it for Mindy. I wanted to show her I wasn't a nobody. But now, she's lost to me. Just like everything else. But what about Spider-Man? What if I can catch him, beat him, deliver him to the fuzz? Maybe that'll help me clear myself. Maybe it'll make them realize I never meant to cause any harm. I'll do it. The Prowler will strike again. And then, when Spider-Man comes after me, I'll still end up with the victory I wanted. Let's see the chat here. Let's see. RDV says, I knew Ash would get a laugh out of these. Spider-Man powers would allow him to survive this fall. Yeah, it would. But the whole point was that he's Peter Parker. J. Jonah Jameson, he doesn't want J. Jonah Jameson to figure out that he's actually Spider-Man. So jumping out the window and surviving, you're like, wait a second, how would you survive that? Unless, but he managed to pull a fast one. So your point still stands. The art in Marvel in this area is good overall. Very rarely were there any clinkers art-wise. Inkers help to keep the art consistent. RDV says, that's what I love about Spider-Man. Ed says, we may think comics were worse today because we expect more from them and that we matured. Not that the medium itself got worse. No, comics today are worse. Way worse. This comic has some funny, like, goofy things in it. But we have to remember that these comics were written for kids. Right? These comics these comics were written in a time where there weren't really comic shops. Everything just went onto supermarket shelves, the spinner rack at 7-Eleven for kids to pick up. So some of these things a kid would not have thought was silly, right? Also, this story is miles more sophisticated than a lot of stuff we get. I mean, go back and like read some of the Gail Simone stuff, like when she was writing for Marvel. Like, it's just stupid. It's just moronic. Here we have some goofball things like J. Jonah Jameson, but they're almost like cartoonish. It's almost like Stan knew what he was doing. But this is a whole story about a man hard on his luck, being down about his girl. This comic actually is very, I don't want to say manly, but there is a lot of lessons. It's almost like Stan is being a father figure to boys everywhere and teaching them a story about relationships with women. There's a lot of subtext here about Spider-Man dealing with women, about Hobie, how he feels useless, and if you're a guy, you get it. You get how much it can matter to have a supportive woman in your corner, and how much more you can accomplish and do when you have that. And Hobie, doesn't have. He's losing, and he's desperate now because he's lost his girl. There's this whole thing here that you would never see in a modern comic today, because modern comics would be all about how men are useless and women don't need no men. Like, it's destruction of the whole nuclear family dynamic. This is way better than 90% at least of modern comics, despite the kind of silliness of this. This is also in the 60s. Come on. This is the best Spider-Man costume ever. Don't mess with the classic look, says Maranya. Ed Brewer says, a kid in a costume holding his own versus Spidey. Well, Spidey didn't used to be the thing that he is now. Like, he fought costume clowns, Let's see. Romita Sr. is the only version that I like of the costume. Jameson was awesome back in the day. Stan Lee writing Spider-Man will always be better than any Zdarsky Spider-Man comics. I don't know about that, man. Spider-Man Life Story is one of the best Spider-Man. I've never read anything by Stan Lee better than Life Story for Spider-Man. I've never read any Stan Lee Spider-Man that was on the level of Life Story. So, and that's Chip Zdarsky. So I disagree with you, RDB. Rania says, actually, no, Stan Lee wrote the comic books for all ages. He did not write down to kids. He famously said that if a kid didn't know a word, the kid would look it up in the dictionary. Well, I didn't say he wrote down to kids. There's a difference between writing for kids and writing down to kids, right? That's one of the successes that Marvel did because they didn't write down to kids. It's also one of the reasons I think Star Wars was so successful. Star Wars was another thing that was written for kids, but it wasn't written down to kids. I think this is one of the reasons why anime and manga is so successful, because it's also written for kids, but not written down for kids. And because of that, adults can go and read it and find them enjoyable too. And intelligent kids typically like that. I know when I was a kid, I rejected all this stuff that was written down to kids. A lot of the cartoons I quickly grew out of because these are so moronic, you know. Anyways, that's my opinion on that. When the Stan wrote Spider-Man, is like Kirkman packs a lot of stuff into his books without making the story suffer. Yeah, I think Kirkman is a more sophisticated storyteller in writing, at least for like his narrative structure. I don't think Stan's narrative structure was that good, but he had really good stories. And he understood characters and giving those characters something to say and then telling a meaningful story about those characters. Also, the way that Stan wrote comics back in the day, you have to kind of applaud, because he would come up with a really rough plot. You know, like, here's the Spider-Man does this, and give him this outline, give it to the artist. The artist would then draw up the story with, like basically silent pictures, and then Stan would go back in and then write up all the word balloons and stuff, like fill it in. It wasn't like a scripted thing. So I think some of the jarring, herky-jerky parts of the storytelling come from that, where to modern writing, say like a Chip Zdarsky book, he'll write an entire script and then give it to the artist, and the artist follows the script the way a director follows it for a movie. So the writer's vision is a lot more intact. All right, let's get back to the let's get back to the program, Spider-Man. And then the next day, Peter, there you are. I've been looking all over for you. Peter, don't you hear me? It's Gwen. She doesn't know that I know about her and Flash. I hear you, Gwen. But I'm late for class. I can't stop to talk now. Peter Parker, this is me, Gwen Stacy, remember? If something's bugging you, I have the right to know what it is. Sure, Gwen, sure. You've got your rights. And I hope you'll enjoy sharing them with Flash Thompson, but it won't be at my expense anymore. Then, that evening. So I told her off, so I had my say. So why do I feel like a whole Sahara Desert is stuck in my throat? And now a bulletin from our newsroom. Bulletin? Big deal. Some politician probably blew his nose. Our news desk has received a flood of reports concerning the Prowler, a mysterious masked criminal still at large in the city. The Prowler. I didn't think he'd be showing himself so soon. But since he is, it's one way to get Gwendy off my mind. This time I'll be sure to take my miniaturized gas filter, even though it makes my mask rough and uncomfortable. I won't forget my camera tonight either, because Mrs. Parker's nephew can sure use some extra bread. But then, minutes later, how unlucky can you be? I just remembered, I'm all out of film. Wah, wah, wah. I can't just walk into a store like this. without causing some kind of small scale riot. So I'll have to do it the hard way. I'll bend these bars back again on my way out. Business must be good. The drug is still working in here. But I can't let that stop me. Clack! Nuts! I didn't notice the display sign. Huh? Who's that? Crawling on the ceiling. Some strands of webbing, and there's money inside. It can only have been Spider-Man. But I thought they call him a menace. And now to find the Prowler, which shouldn't be too hard since there's only 8 million people in New York. But after hours of steady web swinging, if I wanted a quick buck and I had the powers of the Prowler, I'd either tackle a bank or the Diamond Center. But I checked all the banks. So now, hey, for once a hunch paid off. It's him. First, I'll make sure to record him for posterity. I hope he'll be photogenic. It was a groove reading that Parker's still alive, and what? Someone's outside at the window, tapping on it. It must be him. Mighty nice of you to buy me a present, Sonny. But let's make sure you've got the right size. Spider-Man, you snapped at my bait. I figured that one defeat wouldn't be enough for you, so I've been waiting to hand you the second. Sorry, sweetie. I never get caught the same way twice. You must be using a gas filter, huh? That's real clever, man. But I can't help against my power blasts. Doesn't have to. My speed'll do that. I never realized he's too fast, too strong for any other weapons of mine. If the gas won't stop him, nothing will. So I've got to take off till I can dream up a new course of action. I only beat him by a fluke before. Compared to that cat, I'm strictly nowhere. I was a fool to have listened to Mindy. Thump. Hold it, Prowler. There's no place left to run. Come back now, nice and easy. I've still got one chance if I can catch him with a power blast point blank. No good. He clogged the nozzles up with his web. Don't feel too bad, buddy. This won't be a total loss. If you're lucky, you'll get a few good photos out of it. But first, it must be mighty stuffy there under that little old mask. Go on, take it off. Nothing matters anymore anyway. He's no hardened baddie. He's just a frightened kid, no older than I am. Maybe it's just as well you caught me before I got into more trouble. Suppose you tell me about it, fella. Finally, and that's it. All I wanted was a chance to use my talent to help people, but no one listened. No one cared. That's always been the trouble. No one ever cares. So go ahead and lock me up. What difference does it make? It makes plenty of difference, Hobie. So far, you've hurt no one. You've stolen nothing. So who am I to turn you in? Go on back to Mindy, man. That's where it's really at. You mean... I mean, maybe we're both in the same boat. Both of us riding a rocket to nowhere. Only we're the lucky one. Sorry, only you were the lucky one, 'cause you just got off. Next, the return of the mysterious chameleon. Dragon Ball says, tell Miles, hands off Gwen. Oh, yeah, that's stupid. Rania says, all these days, Spidey says a digital camera, no film. All he needs is to keep batteries fresh and loaded. Yeah, these days. All Spidey needs to do is keep his smartphone with him. I think it's kind of silly that actually superheroes have smartphones. It's just used to track who they are. RDV says, I'm sure people with smartphones got better photos than Spidey. RDV says, no wonder the Bugle went under. It's now a crummy blog or an online website at best. Spider-Man shows mercy, and I like that, says Melissa. Dragon Ball says, I love this issue. Miles can't touch Gwen. I'm sorry. Miles can touch Gwen. Nah, this is stupid. Miles and Gwen together. This is dumb. This is stupid writing ideas. These writers, they don't know how to like go beyond the characters that exist. So everyone has to sleep around with everyone else because their universe is so small. RDB says, different Earths, so it's okay. Yeah, it's different Earths, but it's still the same characters, still the same people. And the fact that it is different Earths and it's still the same characters only reaffirms my point even more. Like, it's... Look, we've got more than one Earth, and we still have the same amount of characters. We've more people. We've doubled the size, tripled the size, quadrupled the size, the number of people, but we haven't expanded our character list. And she's too young for Peter. No, she's not. Oh, well, it's because they age Peter up. Marvel's stupid. MCU, how will Raimi's Doc Ock return if he died at the end of Spider-Man 2? I don't think it's going to be Raimi's Doc. I don't know what they're doing. I was under the impression they were just going to use the same actor, kind of the way like James Bond carried over Judi Dench from the Pierce Brosnan films when they rebooted the series under Daniel Craig. So it's a complete reboot, but yet Judi Dench plays the same character. You know, sometimes they do that. It's whatever. That's how I was interpreting it. So I was interpreting that this Doc Ock was going to be the same character, but it's not the same storyline. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyways, I think 2 comics are good for tonight. These are pretty solid reads. Maybe if I get started earlier next time, we maybe do more than 2. But anyways, if I stick with 2 a night, there's 10 total issues in this Masterworks. So that'd be 5 nights of story. Hopefully you kind of like this new format of just sticking to one particular book and getting more story from it than having a variety. It definitely makes it easier for me so I don't have to pair things together and do whatever. I can, maybe read more. If I have a lot of time, I can read more issues, things like that. And then I can put all of them together on like a playlist and just have, here's the Spider-Man, here's something else, here's something else. So thank you guys for showing up. I hope everyone's going to have a good Christmas. Christmas can be fun. Doc Ock will be good looking and be an SJW. This Doc Ock will be good looking and be an SJW. Isn't that the one? That's the one from the Spider-Verse. That's the girl Doc Ock. Goblin serum heals Norman's chest. Revives him, so that's why Raimi's Norman's back. I don't know. I'm just going to wait and see. I don't pay attention to that stuff until it comes. I'll be back. I don't know if we'll be doing a Thursday show or not, because that'll be Christmas Eve. So we'll see. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. We'll keep it up in the air. Yeah. If I don't see you, I mean, it is Christmas Eve night. It's kind of a weird thing. I guess everyone will be home most people are home because it's not like it's like a party night. So maybe it's worth doing so people can be in bed and listen to things before Christmas. I got some things I got to do, and so I'm going to cut out of here. As usual, I thank you guys for showing up, giving me support in the chat. It means a lot to me. Keep this thing going. It makes me feel like at least a couple people are getting some entertainment out of it. I hope you're enjoying this. This was fun for me. I do dig these Spider-Man, Stan Lee Spider-Mans, and I've never read them. I never went old school Spider-Man. But these are pretty fun. And they're kind of campy, and I really enjoy that. I think it adds to the fun of Spider-Man. Spider-Man's he's kind of a goofball character anyway, so it really does work for that. And as Ed Brewer says in the chat, until next time, same Ash channel, same Ash time. Take care.